It's been 4 months in the making. Let's finally talk about the Hoka Speedgoat 5s. Hello fellow geeks and welcome back to Running Geek Girl. My name is Heather and I am glad you are here today. Today I want to talk to you about these that I have had sitting in my closet for the past 4 months. That is the Hoka Speedgoat 5. I have finally had a chance to test these out and I could not be happier. We're going to take these on a test run. If you would like to skip that, then skip to this mark right here that I'm showing on the screen to get to the full review. But for now, let's hit the trails. Guys, I am in such a great mood today because finally, after waiting for 4 months, I am back out on a trail run. If you have been keeping up, things have been a little chaotic the first part of this year. So we have had floods, we have had freezes, all kinds of weird weather happenings that have closed down trails all over the place, especially since a lot of bridges have been washed out and they've been doing a lot of repairs. But finally, here we are. It's a weekend where I do not have a race. The weather is agreeable right now. It is warm and humid and overcast, which is the best you can hope for from Arkansas weather at this point in the year. And I am getting out on a trail finally, back to my beloved Lurcher 15 trails. Link in the description if you'd like to check them out. But I'm trying out my Hoka Speedgoat 5s that I got back for Christmas. And I am just ready to get out here and enjoy some nature. So let's go. I do have to share the trail with livestock. No biggie. They have the right of way. Okay, so I've done about 6.5 miles. Definitely pushed harder than I have before on those uphills, so feeling really strong. Can't wait to go out for some longer runs later in the month. So I've got a lot stacked up to do today, so I had to cut this at 6.5. But man, what a great run! And these shoes feel amazing. But let's go back inside so I can tell you more about them. Let's go. And now that we are showered and rested, let's talk a little bit more about this shoe. Now, just to give you a little bit of information about it, Hoka has pretty much completely redesigned the Speedgoat after the Speedgoat 4. So this is updated with the Vibram Mega Grip with traction lug for enhanced grip on loose soil. Has same stack height and rocker profile that it's had before, but it has a lighter midsole compound and a double layer jacquard mesh to kind of give you a little bit of extra protection out on any type of terrain. Now I wear a women's 8.5, and so this measures in at 8.5 ounces with a heel to toe drop of 4 millimeters. As far as stability goes, this is just a neutral shoe with no actual stability support. So it doesn't give you anything that you don't need. And the cushioning is what they call a balanced cushion. So this is not a max cushion shoe. It's not meant to be a super responsive cushion, but it is a very balanced, right in between your max cushion and your super responsive. So it's a kind of a happy medium there. It gives you a nice layer of protection, but still gives you a really strong toe off when you need it. You'll see by looking at the sole, this is the Vibram Mega Grip with traction lug. This is a heel that allows you to rock forward, so it does propel you forward. I definitely noticed that on first wearing these. There's an extended heel tab to make it easier to pull these on. New mesh uppers that's made from recycled polyester and double jacquard recycled content. And there's a protective toe cap right here, so that protects you from stubbing your toe on rocks and debris, which definitely came in handy on my run. As you can see, Hoka is using more recycled materials in the construction of these shoes. This is a vegan shoe and it is made for max traction. So now that you know the stats that the company wants you to know, let's talk a little bit about my experience with them. Now, these of course went on super easy. I found that these were very true to size. Hoka, I have noticed, runs a little bit, I believe, on the narrower side, which is good for me because I have a narrow foot, but still need a wide toe box because my toes do swell when I run for a while. The laces, perfect length. I've noticed that, sometimes you get some where the laces are super short. Sometimes you get some where the laces are really way too long and you're having to tuck them in. These I've found are the perfect size, and not once did I have an issue with these untying. These are the nice flat laces that came with the shoes, and didn't have any issues with them coming undone while I was out on the trail. I did use a runner's lace on these using the top holes up here at the top in order to cinch my heel in. That just tends to be a thing with me. My heel is super narrow and tends to slip, but that typically locks it in, so I didn't have any problem with that. The traction on these shoes is unreal. I have never experienced traction like that before in a trail shoe, and I really, really enjoyed that. There were some kind of muddy spots where I was out running, and there was at least one creek crossing that I had to do, and this gripped better than any other trail shoe that I have tried thus far. Now, typically when I'm running, I will try to lean more towards the max cushion end of things. I really like a lot of bounce in the shoe and a lot of cushioning because I'm out there for long periods of time. So I wasn't really sure how this was going to work out with just kind of a medium cushion on it. But honestly, I did not notice a difference once I was out there on the trails and I had worn these for a little bit. I'm not sure how extended races are going to feel because the longest I've been on these so far is an hour and a half. I'm not sure what's going to happen if I get up into the 3, 4, 5, or 6 hours that I would have to run for, say, an ultra or some of my longer trail races. So I'm definitely going to take these out on some longer runs and see how they feel once I'm out there for a long time without that max cushion. But so far from what I'm experienced, I have not had any trouble. I definitely felt like my foot was protected. My foot was very comfortable, and I did not notice a whole lot of the rocks and roots that were underneath me just because of the comfort and the great grip on these. Now, this definitely has a lower drop than I'm used to when compared to my road shoes. However, this was not hugely noticeable. It only kind of popped into my head maybe about a mile or two into the run, but that was about it. It just kind of briefly popped into my head and then that was it. So heel drop, not a problem. Even if you're switching from something from around, say, 8 millimeters, this 4 millimeter drop really did not make a huge difference. As I mentioned, the toe cap here really was useful because I do tend to stub my toe on a lot of rocks and roots while I am out running. That's just kind of who I am. There is a gusseted tongue here, so the tongue is not going to slip. And I would say that there's just enough material in the upper that it allows enough air to get through. I was running in really hot and sweaty conditions. My feet were not suffering, so I was definitely able to get some air circulation through there and stay comfortable. As far as the midsole goes, you can see that there's just a little bit of give to it, but nothing too drastic. So again, it's not super bouncy, it's not super cushiony, and it is not super rigid either. It is right there in that nice middle area. A couple of cons that I did notice, and these are very inconsequential things, but if it matters to you, then you should probably know about these. Now, the first one is that there's not a huge amount of arch support in these. There is a nice arch structure in here, but if you are needing extra arch support, then you may want to consider some sort of an insole, especially if you plan on being in these for many hours at a time. The second thing that came up was that right here on the tongue, the color, and this comes in a ton of different gorgeous colorways, but the color from right here on the tongue did bleed onto my sock, and then once I took my sock off, noticed that it had bled through onto my foot as well. So not a huge deal. I mean, it's just putting an extra bright color on my sock, which doesn't really bother me. But if that is something that bothers you, know that you do have a chance of the dye rubbing off on your feet and or your socks. So just kind of beware of that. So there you go. For ages, I've had people recommend the Speedgoat to me, and I am super glad that I have had a chance to try them out, and I'm looking forward to taking them out on really long runs, especially as I have some ultras coming up over the course of the year. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel for that. So would I recommend these? Absolutely, 100%. I definitely think that they are worth the money. Right now, they retail for $155 US, which is a great price for this type of shoe that is going to last you for many miles in lots of different terrains. So if you are looking for something with a lot of grip, especially if you are going over rocky and rooty areas and more technical terrain, if you're going to be going through a lot of mud, if you were going to be running on dirt or gravel, this is definitely one that you want to check out. As far as running with it on the road, I most likely would not, because the lugs here will wear down once you use them on asphalt for a while, or once you use them on tarmac. So while it may save you from some slippage if you are running on smooth and paved surfaces, eventually these lugs are going to wear down and they are not going to do you much good. These are definitely made for trail terrain. So what do you think? Do you run with a Speedgoat and you would like to tell us some more about your thoughts? Leave them down in the comments below. You can also subscribe to this channel. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it keeps you up to date on all the running content I have coming out all the time. You could also follow me on social media. All the links are down in the description. You can find me across all platforms under the name Running Geek Girl. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm so glad you could be here. Remember to laugh hard, run fast, and be kind. I'll see you later.